In the vast expanse of the cosmos, where stars shimmered like diamonds scattered across an endless velvet canvas, there existed a realm far beyond human comprehension. It was here, on the planet Zytherion, that an extraordinary event was about to unfold, an event that would bridge two worlds separated by light years and eons of evolution. The planet itself was a marvel of nature's artistry, with its twin suns casting ever-changing hues across landscapes that defied terrestrial logic. Towering crystal forests stretched as far as the eye could see, their translucent trunks refracting light into mesmerizing rainbows that danced across the alien sky. At the heart of this otherworldly paradise stood the celestial spire, a magnificent structure that pierced through the atmosphere like a spear of pure energy. This was no ordinary building. It was the living palace of the alien queen, a being whose very existence embodied the pinnacle of Zytherion's evolutionary journey. The spire pulsed with life, its walls flowing like liquid silver, constantly reshaping themselves in response to the queen's will. Within its chambers, bioluminescent tendrils floated gracefully, creating an ethereal ambience that made visitors feel as though they were walking through a dream. The alien queen herself was a vision that transcended conventional beauty. Standing at an imposing 12 feet tall, her form was both terrifying and magnificent. Her skin shimmered with iridescent scales that shifted colors with every movement, while her elongated limbs moved with a grace that belied their power. Most striking were her eyes. 4 of them, arranged in a diamond pattern, that glowed with an intelligence so profound it seemed to pierce through time and space itself. Her presence commanded instant reverence from all who approached, yet there was something profoundly lonely in her gaze, a yearning that even her most devoted subjects couldn't fully comprehend. For centuries, the queen had ruled Zytherion with wisdom and compassion, guiding her people through cosmic storms and interstellar conflicts. Yet despite her unparalleled power and the devotion of millions, she remained isolated in ways that none could understand. Her court, filled with advisors and attendants, buzzed with whispered speculations about their sovereign's increasingly withdrawn behavior. The queen spent hours gazing through the spire's observation decks, her multifaceted eyes fixed on distant stars, particularly one blue-green orb that held her fascination more than any other celestial body. What her subjects didn't know was that the queen had been experiencing visions of a world teeming with life and diversity, of creatures capable of emotions so raw and complex they made even her sophisticated mind ache with longing. These visions weren't mere dreams but glimpses through quantum rifts in spacetime, showing her scenes of human life on Earth, laughter echoing through crowded streets, tears shed in moments of loss, hands reaching out in comfort and love. Each vision left her more intrigued and, strangely, more empty than before. There was something about these humans, particularly their males, that resonated with her on a fundamental level she couldn't explain. As the days turned into weeks, the queen found herself drawn to these visions with increasing intensity. She began dedicating entire cycles to studying humanity, using the spire's advanced technology to observe Earth's inhabitants in unprecedented detail. What fascinated her most wasn't their technological achievements or their capacity for destruction. It was their ability to maintain hope in the face of despair, their determination to connect despite their differences, and their peculiar concept of romantic love that seemed to transcend biological imperatives. These qualities, so foreign yet so compelling, sparked something deep within her consciousness, a yearning that grew stronger with each passing moment. The decision came suddenly, yet with absolute certainty. The queen summoned her highest-ranking ministers, their crystalline forms shimmering with anxiety as they entered her private chamber. "I require a human male," she declared, her voice resonating through the chamber like a symphony of chimes. The statement hung in the air, causing ripples of shock to spread through her court like waves across a still pond. Her advisors exchanged nervous glances, their multiple eyes blinking in rapid succession, a universal sign of distress among their species. "But your majesty," ventured Elder Zixther, his prismatic appendages trembling slightly, "the interspecies protocols strictly forbid such direct contact. The dimensional barriers alone," his words trailed off as the queen raised a hand, silencing him with a gesture that carried the weight of galaxies. "I am aware of the protocols," she responded, her voice soft yet carrying an authority that brooked no argument. "But I have foreseen a convergence, a unique alignment of cosmic energies that will allow safe passage between our worlds. This opportunity may not present itself again for millennia." The court erupted into a flurry of activity as the implications sank in. Technicians scurried to recalibrate the quantum harmonizer, a device capable of bending spacetime to create temporary portals between dimensions. Biologists rushed to prepare environmental suits that could sustain human physiology in Zytherian's atmosphere. Ethicists debated the moral implications of abducting a sentient being from another world, while security forces prepared for potential diplomatic fallout. Through it all, the Queen remained calm, her multiple eyes tracking the preparations with detached interest, as if watching pieces fall into place in a cosmic game only she could see. Meanwhile, on Earth, completely unaware of the events unfolding light years away, Michael Thompson was just another face in the crowd of New York City's bustling streets. At 32, he had built a comfortable life as a marine biologist specializing in deep-sea ecosystems, dividing his time between field research and teaching at Columbia University. His colleagues often joked that he was more comfortable communicating with marine life than with humans, a characterization that wasn't entirely inaccurate. There was something about the silent, mysterious world beneath the waves that spoke to him on a primal level, much like how music might resonate with others. Michael's daily routine was predictable yet satisfying. He would rise before dawn, jog along the Hudson River, then head to his lab where tanks of exotic sea creatures lined the walls. His apartment, perched high above the city, offered spectacular views of the skyline, though he rarely had time to appreciate them. Weekends were reserved for diving expeditions or solitary hikes in the Catskills, activities that allowed him to escape the constant noise of urban life. His social circle consisted mainly of fellow scientists and a few close friends from graduate school, with whom he occasionally shared meals or attended academic conferences. What set Michael apart from his peers wasn't immediately obvious. It was in the way he observed the world, with a combination of scientific precision and almost childlike wonder. During lectures, he would become so absorbed in explaining the symbiotic relationships between deep-sea organisms that students would forget to take notes. In the field, he demonstrated an uncanny ability to predict animal behavior, often spotting patterns others missed. His published papers were respected not just for their technical merit but for their poetic descriptions of underwater phenomena. Yet despite his professional success, there was an underlying restlessness about him, a sense that he was waiting for something, or someone, that could truly understand the depths of his soul. On what seemed like an ordinary Tuesday evening, Michael found himself working late in his lab, reviewing footage from a recent expedition to the Mariana Trench. The city outside had fallen quiet, save for the occasional siren wailing in the distance. As he adjusted the playback speed on his monitor, a sudden power surge caused all the equipment to flicker. Before he could react, the room was bathed in an eerie blue light that seemed to emanate from nowhere and everywhere at once. The temperature dropped dramatically, and his breath formed visible clouds in the air. Before his astonished eyes, the space between his workbench and the wall began to distort, folding in on itself like liquid glass. A vortex of energy materialized, crackling with electricity and emitting a low hum that vibrated through his bones. Instinctively, he reached for the emergency shutdown switch, but his hand froze mid-air as a tendril of light snaked out from the portal, wrapping around his wrist with surprising gentleness. More tendrils followed, encircling his arms and legs, lifting him effortlessly from the floor. His initial panic gave way to awe as he realized these weren't hostile restraints but rather conduits of some kind, transmitting sensations that felt oddly familiar, like the electric pulses he'd studied in certain marine species. The transition through the portal was unlike anything Michael could have imagined. Rather than feeling torn apart or compressed, he experienced a sensation of expansion, as if every cell in his body was being simultaneously stretched and filled with light. Memories flashed through his mind, not in chronological order but in thematic clusters. Childhood summers spent exploring tide pools, the first time he'd seen bioluminescent plankton lighting up the ocean at night, the rush of discovery when he'd identified a new species of anglerfish. These memories seemed to merge with the energy surrounding him, creating a feedback loop of understanding that transcended language or logic. When awareness returned, Michael found himself standing in a chamber that defied all known laws of physics. The walls flowed like liquid mercury, occasionally forming patterns that looked suspiciously like mathematical equations before dissolving back into abstract shapes. Gravity felt different here, lighter yet somehow more substantial, allowing him to move with an ease that bordered on supernatural. Despite the alien environment, he felt no fear, only a profound sense of recognition, as if some deep part of him had always known this place existed. It was then that he saw her, the alien queen. She emerged from a cascade of light, her presence commanding yet strangely comforting. Their eyes met, and in that moment, Michael understood that this encounter wasn't random. The queen's 4 eyes seemed to penetrate through layers of his consciousness, reading not just his surface thoughts but the very essence of his being. Without words, they communicated volumes. About loneliness, about the search for connection, about the universal desire to be truly seen and understood. The realization hit him with staggering clarity. This wasn't abduction, it was destiny. The initial encounter between Michael and the alien queen unfolded in a dimension beyond conventional communication. As they stood facing each other in the pulsating chamber, tendrils of light began weaving intricate patterns between them, creating a bridge of understanding that transcended spoken language. Michael felt his consciousness expanding, his human limitations falling away as the queen's thoughts merged with his own. He saw flashes of her life, her ascension to the throne, her struggles to maintain peace among her people, her growing isolation as she evolved beyond their comprehension. In return, she experienced his deepest memories. The thrill of discovery during his first deep-sea dive, the pain of losing his parents, the quiet joy of mentoring young scientists. Their connection deepened through a series of shared experiences that defied physical boundaries. The Queen guided Michael's consciousness through the crystalline forests of Zytherion, allowing him to perceive the world through her enhanced senses. He marveled at how the planet's dual suns created ever-shifting kaleidoscopes of color, how the air vibrated with harmonic frequencies that carried meaning beyond sound. In turn, he shared his knowledge of Earth's oceans, taking her on mental journeys through coral reefs and abyssal plains, introducing her to the complex social structures of marine life. They discovered a remarkable symmetry between her world's bioluminescent ecosystems and Earth's deep-sea environments, forging a bond through their mutual appreciation for life's mysteries. Yet their connection wasn't limited to intellectual exchange. The Queen revealed a profound emotional depth that resonated with Michael's own capacity for empathy and understanding. Through their mental link, he sensed her centuries-long struggle with loneliness, her yearning for a companion who could match her intellectual curiosity while offering genuine emotional connection. She, in turn, recognized in him a kindred spirit, a being who, despite his relatively short lifespan, possessed an ancient wisdom in his approach to life and relationships. Their shared moments of silent communion carried more weight than any verbal declaration, creating a foundation of trust and mutual respect that transcended their species' differences. As their bond strengthened, the Queen began introducing Michael to her court, orchestrating encounters that demonstrated the depth of their connection. During formal audiences, she would pause mid-sentence, turning to Michael with a glance that conveyed entire conversations. Her advisors watched in astonishment as the human, without apparent instruction, would respond with gestures or expressions that perfectly complemented her intentions. During ceremonial processions through the crystal gardens, their synchronized movements created patterns of light that seemed to dance to an invisible rhythm only they could hear. Even the Queen's most skeptical ministers found themselves moved by the authenticity of their connection, recognizing in their interactions a harmony that went beyond mere diplomatic alliance. Perhaps the most revealing moments occurred during private sessions in the observation chamber, where they would spend hours watching parallel developments on both their worlds. The Queen showed Michael how similar challenges faced both societies: environmental crises, social inequalities, technological dilemmas, and together they explored potential solutions informed by both perspectives. These discussions weren't just theoretical exercises. They represented a merging of wisdom from two vastly different civilizations, with Michael's practical experience complementing the Queen's strategic vision. Through these exchanges, they developed a shared language of gestures, expressions, and subtle energy shifts that allowed them to communicate complex ideas with remarkable efficiency. The revelation of the Queen's true intentions sent shockwaves through both Zytherion and Earth. During a grand assembly in the Celestial Spire's main audience chamber, she addressed her people while maintaining a telepathic link with Michael, ensuring his complete understanding despite the language barrier. "Our worlds stand at a crossroads," she declared, her voice resonating through the crystalline hall. "Through my connection with this human, I have come to understand that our survival depends not on maintaining separation, but on embracing unity. The genetic compatibility between our species offers an unprecedented opportunity for evolution." Gasps rippled through the assembled court as the implications became clear. The Queen explained how centuries of careful study had revealed a startling truth. Human DNA contained unique sequences that could stabilize the increasingly volatile genetic structure of her people. Over generations of accelerated evolution, the Zytherians had pushed their biology to its limits, resulting in declining birth rates and increased susceptibility to cosmic radiation. Human genetic material, particularly that of males, contained adaptive markers that could potentially revitalize their gene pool while unlocking new evolutionary pathways. But this wasn't merely a biological imperative, It was a spiritual one. The Queen revealed how her visions had shown her a future where the blending of their species would create a new civilization capable of bridging dimensions and fostering peace across galaxies. Back on Earth, news of Michael's disappearance triggered an international crisis. Satellite data confirmed the impossible. A massive energy signature had appeared in New York City precisely when he vanished. Governments scrambled to contain the story, but rumors spread faster than official statements. The scientific community erupted in debate, with some dismissing the event as mass hysteria while others pointed to decades of classified research suggesting extraterrestrial contact was inevitable. Marine biology departments worldwide mourned their lost colleague, but whispers of conspiracy theories began circulating among those who had worked closely with Michael. His detailed notes on interspecies communication and genetic adaptation took on new significance in light of current events. The situation escalated when the United Nations received an unexpected transmission, a message from the Queen herself, broadcast simultaneously across all major communication channels. Using advanced translation technology, she addressed humanity directly, explaining the urgent need for cooperation. The transmission included visual evidence of Michael's well-being and brief glimpses of their developing relationship. While many humans reacted with fear and skepticism, others found themselves moved by the sincerity in her words and the obvious connection between her and Michael. Social media exploded with debates about first contact protocols, ethical considerations of interspecies relationships, and the potential benefits of genetic exchange. Scientists worldwide began analyzing the transmission's technical aspects, discovering embedded data streams containing revolutionary insights into genetics, physics, and energy manipulation. The information hinted at technologies that could solve Earth's most pressing problems, from clean energy solutions to medical breakthroughs. However, this knowledge came with a price. The Queen made it clear that successful integration required more than just genetic material. It demanded a willingness to embrace new ways of thinking, to challenge fundamental assumptions about identity and evolution. The choice lay before humanity, to remain isolated in their solar system or to step forward into a larger universe, with all the risks and rewards that entailed. As the Queen's announcement reverberated through both worlds, reactions ranged from profound acceptance to outright rebellion. Among the Zytherian elite, a faction led by High Minister Vorthax began organizing resistance, arguing that genetic integration would dilute their species' purity and compromise their dominance in the galaxy. They pointed to historical records of civilizations that had collapsed after similar attempts at forced evolution. Meanwhile, younger members of the royal court, particularly those who had witnessed the Queen's transformation since Michael's arrival, rallied in support of the union. They formed the Harmony Alliance, advocating for the potential benefits of cross-species collaboration and emphasizing the urgent need for genetic stabilization. On Earth, the situation grew increasingly complex. Religious leaders worldwide grappled with theological implications, while political figures struggled to balance public opinion with strategic opportunities. In New York, Michael's former colleagues at Columbia University became an unexpected epicenter of support, forming the Interspecies Research Initiative. Dr. Elena Martinez, Michael's closest friend and research partner, emerged as a vocal advocate for cooperation. "We've spent centuries studying life in our oceans," she argued during a televised panel discussion. "Isn't it logical that life elsewhere might hold answers to questions we haven't even thought to ask?" Her words struck a chord with many scientists who had dedicated their lives to searching for extraterrestrial intelligence. The media frenzy reached unprecedented levels, with every aspect of Michael's life scrutinized for clues about why he had been chosen. His research on deep-sea organisms, previously considered niche science, gained new significance as experts noted parallels between Earth's extremophiles and the adaptations required for interspecies compatibility. Conspiracy theorists claimed his work had been cover for secret government projects, while legitimate researchers began examining his published papers for hidden messages or predictive elements. The university archives revealed that Michael had been working on a classified project involving genetic markers in marine life that showed remarkable resilience to environmental changes, a project that now seemed prophetic in light of the Queen's revelations. Public demonstrations erupted worldwide, with protesters gathering outside embassies and research facilities. Some carried signs demanding Michael's immediate return, while others supported the potential alliance. Hacktivist groups released sensitive documents about previous UFO sightings and alleged government cover-ups, adding fuel to the firestorm of speculation. In response, various nations began forming task forces to study the implications of the Queen's proposal, leading to unprecedented levels of international cooperation. The United Nations established the First Contact Committee, bringing together experts from diverse fields to assess the situation and develop protocols for potential future interactions. Amidst the chaos, personal stories began emerging that added human dimensions to the global drama. Michael's students shared memories of his unconventional teaching methods, recalling how he would use marine biology metaphors to explain complex social issues. His landlord spoke of late-night conversations about the nature of consciousness, while local shopkeepers remembered his kindness and genuine interest in their lives. These anecdotes painted a picture of a man uniquely suited for his current role, not because of any special abilities, but because of his fundamental approach to understanding and connecting with life in all its forms. As the controversy intensified, both worlds faced mounting pressures that threatened to derail the fragile connection between them. On Zytherion, the opposition movement led by Minister Vorthax gained momentum, organizing massive demonstrations outside the celestial spire. Protesters carried banners displaying holographic images of distorted hybrid creatures, warning of the dangers of genetic contamination. The unrest spread to key infrastructure sites, with workers threatening strikes unless the Queen reconsidered her plans. Security forces struggled to maintain order while remaining loyal to their sovereign, creating tense standoffs that disrupted essential services across the planet. Simultaneously, Earth's response fragmented into competing factions. Major corporations began lobbying governments for exclusive rights to the alien technology embedded in the Queen's transmission, sparking fierce debates about intellectual property in the context of First Contact. Military organizations worldwide went on high alert, preparing contingency plans for both defense and potential offensive operations against Zytherion. Intelligence agencies uncovered evidence of underground networks trading unauthorized copies of the alien data, leading to widespread arrests and further inflaming public tensions. Environmental groups seized the opportunity to push for immediate implementation of the clean energy solutions hinted at in the transmission, clashing with industrial interests resistant to rapid change. Within this maelstrom, Michael and the Queen found themselves increasingly isolated, their connection becoming both a source of strength and vulnerability. The stress manifested differently for each of them. The Queen's bioluminescent patterns began fluctuating erratically, while Michael experienced episodes of disorientation as his human physiology struggled to adapt to prolonged exposure to Zytherion's atmosphere. Their telepathic link, once a seamless conduit of understanding, now carried echoes of doubt and fear from both their worlds. During moments of crisis, they retreated to the observation chamber, seeking solace in watching Earth's oceans and Zytherion's crystal forests. But even these peaceful interludes were interrupted by urgent communications demanding immediate decisions. The situation reached a critical point when both worlds faced simultaneous emergencies. On Earth, several nations launched unauthorized probes towards Zytherion's coordinates, triggering defensive systems that nearly resulted in catastrophic misunderstandings. Meanwhile, on Zytherion, sabotage attempts targeted key facilities involved in preparing for the proposed genetic integration, including laboratories housing samples of Michael's DNA. The Queen's security forces thwarted these attacks, but not before significant damage was done to vital research. The incidents exposed vulnerabilities in both civilizations' infrastructures, highlighting how deeply interconnected their fates had become despite the vast distance separating them. As pressure mounted, the Queen made a bold decision that shocked both her court and Earth's leadership. She initiated a global telepathic broadcast, linking her consciousness directly with key decision-makers across both worlds. Through this unprecedented connection, she shared not just information but raw emotional experiences, projecting the collective hopes and fears of her people while receiving Earth's diverse responses in return. The strain of maintaining this massive psychic network took a visible toll, her iridescent scales dimming as she poured her energy into bridging the gap between species. Michael, serving as both anchor and translator, found himself caught in the crossfire of conflicting emotions and ideologies, his human frame trembling under the weight of shared consciousness. In the midst of escalating tensions, a breakthrough emerged from an unexpected source. Deep within the archives of Unity, Zytherion's ancient repository of knowledge, researchers discovered forgotten records of previous contact with Earth-like species. These documents revealed that the Queen's ancestors had faced similar challenges during their own evolutionary leaps, successfully integrating beneficial genetic material from compatible species. The revelation transformed the debate, providing historical precedent for the proposed alliance while offering technical insights into managing the integration process. Simultaneously on Earth, a team of marine biologists led by Dr. Martinez made a startling discovery in Michael's archived research. His studies of deep-sea vent communities had documented instances of horizontal gene transfer between vastly different species, demonstrating nature's own mechanisms for facilitating evolutionary leaps. When combined with the Queen's transmission data, these findings suggested a natural framework for safe genetic integration. The scientific community quickly mobilized, establishing joint research initiatives that brought together Earth's top geneticists and Zytherian's foremost bioengineers through secure quantum communication channels. The Queen seized this momentum to propose an unprecedented experiment. Drawing upon both worlds' discoveries, she suggested creating a controlled environment where small-scale genetic exchange could be tested and monitored. This harmony sphere would serve as a living laboratory, housing volunteers from both species who would participate in carefully managed interactions. The plan addressed many concerns, providing tangible evidence of the integration's safety while allowing for gradual adaptation. Michael's role expanded beyond cultural liaison to include active participation in designing the sphere's parameters, drawing upon his expertise in ecosystem dynamics. Implementation proved challenging but achievable through collaborative innovation. Zytherian's engineers worked with Earth's architects to design habitats that could support both species' physiological needs, incorporating elements from deep-sea environments and Zytherian's crystal ecosystems. Advanced medical facilities were established to monitor participants' health, while educational programs prepared volunteers for the psychological aspects of cross-species interaction. The Queen personally oversaw the selection process, choosing candidates based on their demonstrated ability to embrace change and foster understanding. As construction progressed, both worlds witnessed a shift in public perception. Regular updates from the project site showcased the genuine connections forming between participants, dispelling fears of forced assimilation. Success stories emerged of Zytherians learning to appreciate Earth's cultural diversity and humans adapting to alien perspectives. The Harmony Sphere became more than just an experiment. It evolved into a symbol of hope, demonstrating that even seemingly insurmountable differences could be bridged through mutual respect and scientific rigor. The transformation extended beyond the sphere itself. On Zytherian, industries began adapting their practices to incorporate Earth-inspired innovations, while on Earth, governments implemented policies based on Zytherian's sustainable technologies. Education systems on both worlds integrated lessons from the project, fostering a new generation of thinkers who viewed interspecies cooperation as natural rather than extraordinary. The Queen and Michael's vision of unity started manifesting in concrete ways, proving that their connection had sparked a revolution far greater than either had initially imagined. With the Harmony Sphere operational and yielding promising results, attention turned to scaling the integration process while addressing lingering challenges. The Queen convened a historic summit, bringing together representatives from both worlds through advanced projection technology that allowed real-time interaction. Michael stood beside her, his presence now carrying equal weight as they presented a comprehensive roadmap for phased implementation. The plan involved establishing additional spheres across Zytherian and Earth, each tailored to specific environmental conditions and cultural contexts, creating a network of integration hubs that would gradually expand the scope of cooperation. Scientific teams from both planets collaborated on developing adaptive technologies to facilitate smoother transitions. Bioengineers created hybrid atmospheric processors that could generate breathable air for humans while maintaining Zytherian's unique energy fields. Medical researchers formulated nanotechnology-based treatments that help participants adjust to changing gravitational conditions and radiation levels. Linguists and cognitive scientists worked on enhancing telepathic interfaces, creating more intuitive communication systems that preserve the authenticity of both species' modes of expression while enabling deeper understanding. However, the path forward wasn't without obstacles. Economic disparities between Earth's nations complicated resource allocation for the project, with wealthier countries initially dominating access to Zytherian's advanced technologies. The Queen addressed this imbalance by proposing a novel economic model based on shared knowledge rather than material wealth. Under this system, contributions of scientific insight, cultural heritage, and ecological wisdom carried equal value to traditional financial investments, ensuring more equitable participation in the integration process. Social challenges also emerged as the scale of interaction increased. Cultural misunderstandings sometimes led to conflicts, particularly when deeply ingrained traditions clashed with new realities. To address these issues, the Queen and Michael established the Council of Understanding, comprising representatives from diverse backgrounds on both worlds. This body served as a mediator for disputes while documenting successful integration strategies that could be replicated elsewhere. Their work revealed that many apparent conflicts stemmed from misinterpretations of nonverbal cues and differing approaches to problem solving, issues that could be resolved through structured dialogue and shared experiences. Environmental considerations added another layer of complexity. The introduction of Earth's microbial life to Zytherian's ecosystems, and vice versa, required careful management to prevent unintended consequences. Joint environmental task forces implemented strict containment protocols while studying potential symbiotic relationships. Surprisingly, some combinations proved mutually beneficial, leading to the development of hybrid agricultural techniques that promised to revolutionize food production on both worlds. Throughout these developments, Michael's role continued to evolve. His background in marine biology proved invaluable in understanding ecosystem dynamics, while his human perspective helped bridge gaps in cultural interpretation. The Queen relied on his insights when making decisions that affected Earth's population, ensuring that policies reflected genuine understanding rather than theoretical assumptions. Their partnership became a model for interspecies collaboration, demonstrating how complementary strengths could create solutions more effective than either species could achieve alone. As the integration network expanded, unexpected synergies began emerging. Artists from both worlds collaborated on projects that combined Zytherian's light-based expressions with Earth's traditional mediums, creating entirely new forms of artistic expression. Musicians discovered that certain harmonics resonated across species lines, leading to the development of universal compositions that could be appreciated by all participants. These cultural exchanges fostered deeper connections beyond the purely practical aspects of integration, enriching the lives of everyone involved. The Queen and Michael's relationship had evolved into something far beyond their initial connection, becoming the living embodiment of two civilizations merging at their deepest levels. Their daily interactions in the celestial spire had transformed from formal diplomatic exchanges into a seamless dance of consciousness, where thoughts and emotions flowed between them like currents in a shared ocean. The Queen's iridescent scales now responded to Michael's presence with distinct patterns, creating visual symphonies that chronicled their journey together. His human physiology had adapted in remarkable ways, his cells incorporating traces of Zytherian's energy fields, allowing him to survive without constant environmental support. Their bond had become the template for successful integration, with other human Zytherian pairs emulating their approach to cross-species understanding. The Queen drew upon Michael's human capacity for emotional nuance to navigate complex diplomatic situations, while he utilized her vast temporal perspective to grasp long-term implications of their decisions. Together, they had developed a hybrid language that combined Earth's verbal articulation with Zytherian's energetic resonance, creating a communication system that other participants in the integration program eagerly adopted. This profound connection faced its greatest test during a crisis that threatened to unravel everything they had built. A faction of radical Zytherians, believing the integration compromised their species' purity, launched a coordinated attack on multiple harmony spheres. Simultaneously, Earth-based resistance groups sabotaged key facilities, citing fears of losing human identity. The Queen and Michael found themselves at the center of a storm that challenged not just their leadership but the very foundation of their relationship. Their response would determine whether their vision of unity could withstand the pressures of fear and prejudice that spanned two worlds. As chaos erupted across both worlds, the Queen and Michael stood together in the celestial spire, their connection glowing brighter than ever. The Queen extended her consciousness to every corner of Zytherian, while Michael reached out to humanity through a global broadcast. "Fear is natural," he said, his voice steady, "but it cannot dictate our future." The Queen amplified his words with a wave of calming energy that resonated across species. Together, they unveiled a shared vision, a hybrid civilization where differences were strengths, not divisions. The attackers faltered as images of thriving harmony spheres flooded communication networks, showcasing unity's beauty. Slowly, resistance crumbled, replaced by awe and hope. In the end, the Queen and Michael didn't just bridge two worlds, they redefined what it meant to belong. Hand in hand, they stepped into a new era, proving love and understanding could transcend even the stars themselves. Their story became legend, whispered among galaxies for eons to come.